Welcome back. Today we will continue our work on Solana. So yesterday we took LLMs and we used Claude to work out how does SolanaVM work. We created an isolated instance of the SolanaVM. We compiled an Anchor program. We showed how we can invoke different functions using LLMs. So we also got an understanding on how Solana actually works. It's very similar to Ethereum in that it starts in a place in the program, and then it has a blob of data that it interprets on. And so Anchor is a wrapper that allows you to make it easier to make function calls. And so this was what we learned yesterday. Now in today's video, I was planning on taking the work we did yesterday and build on that and create a framework for allowing us to either choose different types of blobs, so raw blobs or anchor blobs. I don't quite know how to do this, so just like yesterday, this will be an experimental video where I show how we can use AI for basically working out how to solve a specific problem, right? And it is not vibe coding we're doing. It's more of a create me an example on how to do stuff, and we spent a lot of time making sure that it actually works, the things that we are doing. We're not just closing our eyes, and that I think that's the main difference with vibe coding to what we are doing here. But the key principle here is still to see how much we can use AI to accelerate what we are doing, to avoid doing some of those trivial tasks, like for instance, looking up documentation. Like if I would had to do what I did yesterday in 50 minutes without AI, I would have been spending at least 4 hours just reading up documentation on how Solana works. But now because we have LLMs available, I have the possibility of just shortcut that and cut down on the time immensely. Okay, let's create a new empty buffer here and let's create a new context. We just drag our programs in here, and let's just add this one as well and this one here. So this is the code, and let's explain it what we want to do. We want to create a right. So what is it actually we want to do? Right. So we want to create a serialization framework that allows us to specify for the main tool what kind of data we are putting in, whether this is Anchor data or it is Solana data. So basically, let's try to do this slightly differently. Okay. Okay, and this is, we are actually not giving the task, this is the objective. Your overall objective. Right. Okay, so what we're doing here is I've given it all the code we developed yesterday, and really what we want to do is we want to evolve this into a command line tool where I can specify the program I want to run, I want to specify the serialization framework, and I want to then give it the arguments, right? And getting the LLM to understand all of these things is a huge task, so it requires a lot of writing. So what I've done here instead is I've asked the LLM to interrogate me and try to understand what it is that I'm trying to do. So that's what it's doing now. It's coming here with its first question. What is the primary purpose of the function invocation framework? Is it a call? Is it to call functions in Anchor, Solana, or Solana programs from the command line without modifying? Yes, that is it. We are building tool for testing Solana programs. Want it such that we can specify a program and blob encoding format, and finally the arguments for some encoding formats. We might need additional parameters such as ABI files or IDL files. So one of the things I did not realize until I had read up on Anchor yesterday is that it is very similar to Ethereum, to the whole ABI framework in Ethereum, in the way that it creates these IDL files that describes the interface and how you interact with it. And so we actually need this extra information. And so now that the LLM will get this extra information with the questions about what we want to do, and it will try to work out what are the next things that it doesn't know and ask us more questions, or it will just go ahead and write the task descriptions. Let's see. Another question. Do you want me to support both native Solana programs and Anchor Yes, of course I want that. That's the whole point. Or are you focusing on one type initially? So we need to support multiple frameworks. It should work something like this. What did we call this one again? I don't even remember. Right. Okay. path to program.so blob base 64 blob program. Cool. So I think we wanted something like this, and so we want the framework to be extensible as well. For the existing code, we already have functionality to process with various functions calls. Should this functionality be integrated into the new program? No, so we don't want to preserve any of the code, the existing code is just invocation. Okay, so I don't want to delete this file because I think it has a lot of good information about how we are interacting with the SolanaVM. Rather, I think it serves as a great example of that. So let's try to move it in. Okay. And now it has a proposal for what the project looks like. And this actually looks really reasonable, right? So we have the main, we have the framework mod, and then we have an invoker with the core logic. Then we do encoders. This would allow us to do blobs. It will allow us to do anchor. It would allow us to do message packs, CBOR, or even this thing by Google, Protobuf, if we wanted to do that. That should work, and I think this is great. Let's stick with that. Okay. Okay, so it has it actually has a ton of stuff here. Let's just stick with this for now. So this is going to be our context for doing the work. And let's just start out with step 1. Well, actually, cool. And so I'm too lazy to do all of these steps myself. Instead, we're just going to create a sh script to do it for us. Factor.sh. We're going to our terminal. Chmod +x refactor Okay, and we can delete this one again. Oh wait, we can't. Oh, for fuck's sake. Right. Okay, we're just going to move this one. Right, let's move that one back in there. So we have the example. Why would it put that one there? And actually, what happened to my original main file? Oh, this is garbage. Let's see. And then this main file can go into that examples. Okay, I think that's about it. So we're just correcting this step because that was clearly wrong. Okay, and we're done with this refactor file. So now let's okay. Let's just make sure that our thing here is still working, and so it goes ahead and it actually adds a ton of different things we didn't ask it to add. But this is typical LLMs. They are a lot of times being overly ambitious about what they're doing, but we're going to leave it because we'll need it later on anyway. Let's just check that things are working. Cargo run example. Let's see. In the meantime, while this compiles, I'll go back to my context here and we're going to trim it down because I don't want to spend 50. So we're using 43K tokens every time we are doing a request. This is super expensive. I will remove all of this garbage and instead just add the manual example. And so the reason why we add the manual example is because this will help direct the LLM to what kind of implementation we want. It will correct all of the things that we discovered yesterday that it didn't know and got wrong about how to set up a SVM executor. It will have the example on how to do this right. Okay, and so our manual example has now been moved. We have created the initial structure. We're just going to commit this. Cool. And so we'll stop the live stream here. This has created the initial structure. We have some context we can now use. And with that, we're ready to actually start doing the full implementation. So we'll do this in the afternoon after lunch, so in about 3 hours from now. If this is of interest to you, subscribe, like,